So I don't know. Did you get a chance to look at the tiny, like anything about Tiny Conversations?
I went to the website.
Okay.
But I didn't have the chance to.
You saw what I meant about the faces. Yeah.
But I didn't have a chance to listen to any of it because we don't have Wi-Fi at home, so it's kind of...
That's okay. That's okay. Most of my guests, it's funny, I've never heard it, which I kind of maybe like. I don't know. I don't have a preference, really. The whole idea is, it's, like I said, it's small discussions on big ideas. So I take every conversation and it all gets edited down to 10 minutes or less. So it's really easy for a listener to say, cool, I have no idea what this topic is about, but it's 10 minutes, so why not, right? You know, same, like, it's, I think Ecouté Pour Voir, actually, no, I think it's interesting. It's like, time-wise, a very small investment, but it's very... I'm trying to think of the words to describe how I felt. It takes a lot of courage, I think, for both people. So one of the first things that I was interested in is where you came up with the idea of Ecouté Pour Voir.
It's actually not my idea. It's the idea of Emmanuel Jout, which is a choreographer from Montreal, the artistic director of the company. And he came up with this idea because he was always interested in the relation between the spectator and a dancer. And he was invited to create a piece in an apartment, 7-room apartment. So each choreographer had a room, and he decided to create one piece in this room with a dancer with an iPod and earphones for the spectator as well. So the idea, it started there, but then he realized the power of this idea. And he decided to create a real piece out of it, and then to have multiple dancers at a time having this kind of setup. So each dancer has an iPod with music on, their own music, and they were performing separately, but all in the same space. So yeah, he came up with this idea just to shake things up a little bit, because as dancers, as creators, we used to perform on stage, but we're always told, and we always want to bring the dance discipline in other places. We want to reach out to people, and we want to get to people, and we want to get people to know dance. And I think that's a great way. He saw there a way to get to people that are maybe not aware of what dance is, or think that dance is not easily understandable, or it's not for everyone. But then we get to meet those people in parks and public spaces, and they don't even know they're watching a dance show. It's after we tell them, like, that was a dance contemporary project, and they're like, whoa, okay. So yeah, the idea was just to create something between two people, actually.
I think that was one of my favorite things, was how intimate and personal the performance was. And I mean, I'm obviously experiencing all of this on one side. From your perspective, as a dancer, as the person delivering this performance, what's it like for you?
It's super intimate. It is super intense. I remember the first time I performed this show, I was so stressed out. I've never felt like that before, because I mean, I'm used to perform on stage. I can perform in front of hundreds of people, but that is super intense. And now I still get stressed, and I've performed this piece for many, many times. We started in 2009, I think. So I've been doing it for a while, and I'm still super stressed before a show, because it is super intimate. I mean, you get to meet people you don't know, and to watch and look them in the eye for 3 minutes, even touch them sometimes, and you're the only one responsible for that. I mean, I cannot hide. I have to be strong for 3 minutes. I am dancing for you for 3 minutes. So I'm just putting myself there. I'm opening up to you. And the only way it works is if I open up myself to you. Because if I stay, let's say, close and I'm just performing, the bond, it doesn't work. It's just me performing for you. I'm just doing you a show. And this is not the idea of the project. Because I would not perform that's the solo you experienced, let's say, on stage. It wouldn't work. It's something that we created to be in a relation with one person at a time. I'm dedicated to you. And we do simple things that from the outside, is it even a dance move? Is it, but from the inside, when I'm performing it for you, it's everything because it's in your eyes that it makes sense, But from the outside, it's like, wow, she's just moving front and back and front and back. It's like nothing. So, yeah. And we know that for the spectator, it's super intense. It demands a lot of courage to just say, okay, I'm going to try it. But when they understand that for us, it takes a lot of courage too, then we're on the same page, and we can just share something.
One of the things that kind of blew me away, and I'm happy we get to have this conversation because I really wanted to ask you about this, was the amount of eye contact. There's a lot of eye contact, which is the thing that I don't get from a lot of people. And then all of a sudden, I should say it's something I don't get a lot from strangers. It's very rare that for 3 minutes you're making a lot of eye contact with a stranger. So, where did that idea come from?
But first of all, it really depends. All the solos are different. So there are some dancers that won't look as much in the eye. It's always a personal choice that you make. But I find, and most of the time we find that it's one of the way to reach to the other. That and then touching the person. Then we have to do it really carefully because we don't want to get really too much into it and too much into the bubble of the other person. And we don't want the spectator to feel disrespected or whatever. But no, this is not something we do in regular life. This is not something we experience. We go buy a coffee and I don't even know if we watch the other person in the eye, if we look the other person in the eye. This is why this project at first for the spectator is so intense, because I don't know how to say it. It's just, it's a way to connect. And now we don't connect as much with people around us. We have our phones, we have our things, and we don't even ask questions around. If you ask, just yesterday, I asked someone for the time, and the person was like, whoa, what? No, I'm sorry, do you have the time? And she was like, okay. You're kind of surprised to be interrupted in your things. So looking someone in the eye is making contact, and we make that contact for 3 minutes. So it's intense, but it's the way, because we have to find a way to create this contact together. Because if you want that link during the dance, this sharing together, we have to find a way to do it. So looking at each other in the eye is one of the way we found to make that happen. But some spectator won't let us. They will try to look somewhere else. They feel uncomfortable, and that's okay. That's totally okay. But that's our job to, during that 3 minute, find a way to make them come back to you and feel them comfortable. So maybe that means I'm dancing too close to you. I'll try to go back a little bit, make you feel comfortable. Because there's always that moment where you feel that the spectator just lets go. It can be after 10 seconds, but it can also be after 3 minutes. But it always happen. There's just this moment, like you see the release in the body. You see the moment. It's super small, but you really feel that the person is like, okay, now it's okay. I feel safe, Because at first everyone, it's just waiting to see what's going to happen. You know, you don't know. What is the dancer going to do? What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to look? What am I supposed to do with my arms? All that. But after a few seconds, a few minutes sometimes, there's just this moment where, well, okay, nothing's bad going to happen. And we can just share this moment together.
It's funny because I remember thinking all of those things. Like totally just thinking, okay, what do I do with my hands? I mean, I really liked that that you took my hand and got me to hold the cable, and it was very, like, it was all part of the choreography. How there were very sort of technical things part of the choreography, and then just dance things part of the choreography. I was very intelligent. I was really smart. But it's like I even had moments where I go, wait, am I looking you or whoever else was dancing? Like, am I looking you too much in the eye? And I was like, but I don't want to look away. This is great. Like, you know. But then I thought, I'm going to make them uncomfortable, and there's a lot of stuff going on in a short period of time. I mean, those are all things I experienced. What are some of the most memorable or revealing moments for you in your experience of doing this?
Wow, there's many moments. Dancing for kids, not all of them, but most of the time is a really powerful experience. In the moment, not that much, because kids are not really expressive when we dance. Maybe because they're really impressed, but they don't move, they stand still, and they just wait for us to finish, you know? So when you first experience it, it's intense because you're like, they don't like it. But finally, in the end, they're like, thank you. And then they leave, they run to their parents, and they get super intense, and they start to dance and to sing the song to them. And you see them, like, they're like 3 feet away. And then their parents come, and they're like, wow, it's super intense for them, and what a great experience. And then you get to meet them days after or weeks after, and they're like, that changed something. So that is an important moment to realize that this is a powerful experience, and we live this moment, this 3-minute moment, but people, they leave and they keep that, they have that, and that can bring them somewhere or nowhere, it doesn't matter, but for some of them, it changed something. They realized something. And that is really powerful for us. We had a great experience in a music festival where we were for a week. And what was nice about this is that it was a small town in Gaspésie, in Quebec province. And spectators were there for a week, most of them. They would come for the festival for the week. So we would see them day after day after day. And we got to have to spend some time with them, not just share the experience and then go home. We were with them for the whole week. So we got to sit down with them, have a drink, and they spoke about the experience and how they have that inside for forever, or what it changed, or how they felt. And so this is also really powerful, because after a show, we're filled with human encounters. But these people are not there after. They all went home, and they have that too. But it's always nice to get to speak with other people about what we shared and how powerful it is. During that festival that we did for 2 years, 2 years in a row, we also had the festival. They asked us to create solos on the music from the artist in the festival. Because usually we choose the music. It's a music that we like and that we like to dance on and that we want to share. But we got to create solos on the music of the artist in the festival and to present these solos to the spectators, but also to the artists themselves. That was an amazing moment because we got to meet the artist first and speak with them and about them as artists, but also about the song and what it means for them and that kind of question. And then we got to perform for them. These are the most powerful experience because it's, for them, it was just your art, how someone else sees it, you know? And then we connect through that as artists. Super powerful. Everyone was crying. It was super intense, but really, really amazing experience. And also the moment where we presented this piece for a year in a retirement home. This is a life changer. I mean, just the first month when we went there, we were super sad. We were so sad. I mean, this place is just, it's loneliness. It's just loneliness. So for us, just to get to know the place and know this feeling and just, I don't know, it's like you don't go there really often. And yeah, just to give them that. The idea of was to go to them and try to let them out of this loneliness. And of course, we were there for 2 hours in 2 weeks. It's not a lot, but at least it was that. And then we got to share with these people something really special because we were there every 2 weeks. And even though they didn't remember us that much because they had Alzheimer, but they knew. And then they got to familiarize with the project and everything. So in the end, they would dance with us and we would go exactly where they wanted us to go. Some of them, they weren't able to move at all. Some of them, they wanted to move. So it's just, okay, I'm just going to play my song on repeat. I'm going to perform. And then we're going to see where it brings us, you know? So that was really, really powerful. And we got to talk with the staff there. And at first, they were wondering, you know, what is that? And is that money well spent? Maybe we would prefer to have another nurse. Maybe we would prefer to, you know. So they were kind of, they weren't sure about this. But in the end, they told us, they were like, they're different. They're different. Everyone is different when you come, and the rest of the day after is totally different. They're happy. So we really felt we made a difference in some way.
I remember you were telling me about how they would, how the people you were how they would start to dance with you, and I'm wondering if you can just tell me that story again.
Well, I remember one in particular that was so sweet, and she would watch me dance, so I would perform for her, and of course I wouldn't perform like I would perform in a park, or they were sitting down, and we had to move. They were sitting in circle. It was totally different than what we do usually, but so our dance is super small, and then I would take her hands because that's a way of connecting to touching, and they don't see as well as normal people, so it's easier for us. I even performed for someone who was blind. I performed my own the whole dance just with my hands, with touching her. It was totally improv because, of course, it's not the same, but that was an amazing experience. She liked it. It was great. It's a totally other project, but you know, it was great. So this other lady, I would perform my choreography that was about 3 minutes, and I just put the song on repeat, and then I took her hands, and then she started moving a little bit. So I realized, okay, so she wants to move. So I just started to move with her to bring her somewhere, but So for another song, it was me leading. But then I realized that she was trying to bring me somewhere. So slightly, I started to let her lead the whole thing. And then she led me somewhere and we just improv together. And we were standing together and she was moving and it was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. There's this other lady that she was leading me, but she was sitting and she was just telling me what to do. But the thing is that we both have our earphones on, so she was like shouting and she was like, higher, okay, down to the floor, okay, roll. That was so sweet. So they had each of them, they had their own way of, and there's other people, you just perform for them and then they want to talk to you. And they talk to you for 15 minutes. And they talk to you about their experience of dance when they were young and what they did and how they dance, I don't know, ballroom dances or salsa or whatever. And I mean, if this is what you want, fine, we're going to do that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about your experience and my experience. But dance was the way we got to do that, so it was beautiful, a beautiful experience.
That's so incredible. For you, why do you do this? Why is this important to you?
It's funny because I was talking with Raphael, my colleague and friend, and we studied together, university. And I told her, if you would have told me, I don't know, 5 years ago that I would have been doing that exact project here in Toronto with people from Workman Arts, performing in a park, dancing a project one-on-one, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have been like, yeah, seriously. Because, when I was younger, I wanted to be a dancer. But the idea of the dancer is you performing on stage. But when we got to experience that project, at first, I realized how powerful it is. And I still want to be that dancer on stage. And I still do that too. But for me, it is so powerful. It is so inspiring. The human relationship we can create, that I just want to keep on going with that. And this year we got to start training people to do that because we were dancing the project a lot, but then we got to start to tour with the project. And so let's say we go to Spain, we get to work with dancers from the city where we go and then perform with them. So for us, we had to put in words what we learned just by experiencing the project. We had to write it down to make sure that we can explain it and that's clear for them. And that's also a thing that really interests me because we experienced it so many times in the last 5 years. There's so many experiences. And now we get to share that too. And we get to bring people to do that. And it's so touching to see them perform for the first time. I remember our first time in Spain, we trained those dancers and then we did a dress rehearsal so they can prepare for the real show because we want them to experience the thing before we actually meet spectators. So they get to invite families and friends. So we were in the parking lot of the studio where we rehearsed. And we were like, okay, 1, 2, 3, go, let's go. And then they started to perform their solo to the people they invited. And I was so moved because I was like, it's actually the first time they're experiencing that kind of relationship. I've been doing that for 5 years now, and I get super impressed all the time. But that's their first time. And I was really moved by that. So for me, it's also important to do that. Train new people to do that. Same thing that we did here with Workman Arts. we also did a dress rehearsal, and the first moment to perform it to people, that's the moment they really understand what this project is about. We can talk about it for days, but the moment they experience it, that's where they understand, and you see it in their eyes. It's different. Everything changes. So that's also really strong for us. So I guess, yeah, and as an artist, I'm really interested in the relationship that we can build between a spectator and a dancer, but also about dance in public spaces or performance in public spaces. So for me, this project is kind of great to bring all that together and, yeah, create.
How has doing this changed you?
I guess I'm much more open to people. I guess I'm also really less judgmental. To be honest, at first, I was dancing, and when people were coming to me to receive the dance, I'd be like, oh, no. This guy, of course, he won't like it. He wants it. Doesn't look like someone who would like this kind of experience, you know. But I did it anyway because it was my job. But then that guy got super into it and super touched and moved, and then you realize that you have to stop. You have to stop to decide for them. You have to stop to, judge people. So for me, it helped me a lot. And also, you have to let go. You have to let go. When you perform like that in the street, you never know what's gonna happen. There's so many factors. There's so many things happening. Just for you as a performer, you're in the street. The light is different. You have to make sure the spectator doesn't have the light in their eyes. The floor is different. Sometimes it's grass. Sometimes it's something else. There's the temperature. But also the person is always different. So you don't know how they're gonna react. And for me, I'm a perfectionist. I want everything to be perfect and like every time perfect. But that's the opposite of this project. You know, you're dancing the same solo over and over again, but it's never going to be the same. And you're never going to achieve perfection. It's not going to happen. It's going to be different every time because you have to adjust. You have to adjust to the person who is in front of you. The goal is to reach to that person. So you have to do everything in your power with this choreography to get to this person. And we're always improving. So every time you do the solo, okay, what is it that I can do differently? Oh, when I do that, when I put my hand there, it works better. Okay, I'm going to try that next time. And then you improve all the time. So it changes all the time. So it got me to say, okay, just let go. You won't achieve something perfect and that will stay like that all the time. So everything is changing, everything is moving, and you have to let go of perfection.